This is part of our package, Wahoo and Wahoo 2.
So we're hanging out in Valley View, Northern Alberta. Of all places, Wes. Like
Of all places, who thought, eh?
And I'm with my buddy Wes Penner, and we're looking at Wahoo here. This is quite a car, man. And it's got a lot of history with you. Well, I'm fascinated because of my own cars.
Right.
When the story begins, like how long have you actually had this car?
We actually had the car, we got it in '02. We were doing a bit of a business thing. Mom and Dad were out doing a bit of helping with the church situation in Yorkton, Saskatchewan.
Okay.
And they happened to go and get a haircut for Mom at one of their parishioners. And Dad sees an old body shell sitting in the bush. And he goes, that looks like an old 34. And the guy goes, yeah, it is. So anyway, long story, Dad sent me some pictures, asked, what do you think? I said, yeah. I said, find out how much he wants.
Right.
And the guy wanted $275. I said, give him cash now, get a bill of sale. We went out, it was 30 below. We took a little utility trailer and cut it out of the bush.
Yeah.
And just left it in Yorkton for a little bit.
Okay.
Then we brought it home, probably about 2002 in the summer, and it sat. And it just sat dormant for about 10 years.
Right.
While we had it there, just didn't have the resources. I did a 2-inch chop and a 2-inch section on the body.
Right.
And then we weren't in a financial place to do it, and I just went, I don't want to start on it till, and it sat outside.
Okay. Wow.
So that's a little bit how long. And then we were on the worship team, and during one of the fasts, God just spoke to my spirit about, it's time to build.
Right.
But I want you to build high end. Wow. And at that time, he was going to work us through some poverty mentalities.
Right.
And so we went to start.
Right. But not only the poverty mentality, but I bet there's a lot of skills you really had to.
We had to develop some skills. Yeah, we had done a little bit with some of the business stuff, and I enjoy it, but I've had to redo some stuff.
Okay.
We built the console 3 times until we found the right one that we wanted.
Is that right?
That's part of the build process, right?
It is.
You go and initially, even though we felt to build high end, I was going to use a power plant out of a 99 Silverado, a 5.3 Vortec with 100,000 kilometers. It's decent. It's going to work great.
Yeah.
But as we're starting to progress with the build, we're putting everything else in, brand new, and people are going, okay, yeah, and what do you got for a power plant? Oh, well, I got a 5.3 out of a 99 Silverado.
Somebody's old Silverado, yeah.
And so partway through the journey, we listened to a little bit of a teaching on what's the frustration part of your dream.
Right.
And in it, we're driving back from Saskatoon, and Beth says, well, so what is that? And I said, for me, it's God's called us to build high end, and we put in a cheap motor.
Right.
So we started looking for one.
Wow.
I was doing a pile of overtime at the time at work and frustrated that I couldn't have any time to work on it. We realized that God had blessed us with the resources that we could. I was looking for a used 6.2 LS because that's what I really wanted in it.
Okay, yeah.
Long story short, we could buy a brand new crate motor, which, giving the glory to God for help working that out. 495 horsepower, 470 foot-pounds torque, and then a 6-speed Tremec for a transmission. So part of the trek, right? Of when he downloads something and how it's going to look, and you're kind of going, okay, but this is all the resources I've got, and he's going, use it. What's in your hand? Use it.
Well, that's so true, and of course, everybody that's a builder is going to come to that point every week, whatever. I don't know. It's a lot.
Every week, every couple of months, you're going, okay, just a sec. This is all I have left in my account to build this, and you want me to do what? Or that part costs that much, but then I don't have. And through the whole process, basically God would just say, okay, what's in your hand?
Right.
Are you willing to just use it?
Yeah.
And trust me, and as you got those pieces used up and built.
Right. So it's a bit of an off question, but I think it's really important for guys that are building. You and your wife have a separate account for rod building? Is that how you do it?
Yeah. We have an account that we just sort of say, okay, this is the hot rod account.
Right.
I mean, it's a shop account, whatever you want to call it. But it's a certain account that we use that we've just set aside resources, and sometimes we'll pull out of our savings account to fund it or whatever.
Because I know that can be a contention, especially in marriage.
Oh yes,
right?
yeah.
That's a tough
No,
one.
and you know what? Beth's very supportive.
Right.
But it's a thing that we sort of we set aside. We've got this that we can work with.
Right.
And then we discuss if all of a sudden we're coming to the end of that, going, okay, how are we going to proceed?
Right.
And you know what? Praise God, we didn't borrow any money to build the car.
Right.
And
so good.
and yet at times, I mean, the build itself actually took about 6 years from start to finish.
So that the whole resources thing is you know, you need miracles and things to fall in place and that kind of stuff to really do something high end like this. But there's another aspect to it too that you really have to. Well, I find, you know, the Spirit of God is so helpful when it comes to engineering.
Yes.
And stuff that shouldn't work, and there's an idea that makes it work. And how much of that did you find?
Well, Beth had shared a little bit of the testimony, and also the testimony when we built our first 34.
Right.
About how God asked, when I was frustrated about not having time to work, and he just said, are you as willing for me to take out the wood, the rot, the rust, and to build you into what I want you to be?
Yeah.
When I'm building, that's a whole different thing. When I'm in the shop, some people go to their prayer closet
Right.
to meet God, and God really speaks to me in the shop.
Right.
And it's a place where I can commute, where he downloads the ideas. Even, I mean, you can't find your tools. You're asking for help, but also you're asking for ideas.
Right.
And at times, like, I said we built the console 3 different ways, but in the process, it went from doing the 5.3 with an automatic to the 6.2 with a stick. But the overall vision that he gave, we stayed with. But it's it's just trying to follow and trust God to give you the ideas.
Right.
Because for myself, I had a picture of how it was supposed to be. It needed to be chopped and sectioned. The interior was going to be leather, and it had to be ovals. And there was a certain way that all had to flow together.
Yeah.
And somehow it was all going to, that was the theme for the car.
Right.
And
Wow.
the reason it got called Wahoo is you'd be texting people and you'd just finish off being silly and just go, Wahoo, blessings to the max type thing or whatever. And then we just went, you know what, we need a plate for this thing. We should call it Wahoo. And then when we built the trailer for it, just thought, if the car is Wahoo, the trailer has to be Wahoo too.
And I appreciate it's a Wahoo 2TO, not
number 2, yes.
Right. That's so good, yeah. Because the number 2 would be a little tacky.
Would be a little bit tacky, and it makes people think. They're kind of going, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Can we jump in and have a
Yeah, let's jump in, yes.
design?
Yeah. Do you want to drive?
Yeah, okay, sure, I'll drive. And of course, there's a lot of guys that are watching this saying, okay, we know what motor it's got in it, transmission.
Yeah.
What about all the other stuff? I mean, independent front, independent rear?
It's got a TCI independent front suspension with the 4-link in the back. It's got a Ford 9-inch.
Okay. Oh,
We've
yeah.
got 390 gears in the back. So with the 6-speed, it's got long legs. It's a 0.5 ratio in
Right.
6th gear. So at about 110 kilometers an hour, we are just over 1,500 RPM.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of cool. We designed the whole interior as well. We just had the seat skins sewed by Cat Skins.
Okay.
And we ordered 5 additional cow hides. We've got an iPad mini in for doing our sound control, as well as engine management, Dakota Digital gauges, Billet Specialties wheels, a chopped column. And then to follow the oval theme, we took the tops of the oval to make a free-floating armrest.
Oh, yeah.
And did the full leather interior, rolled out all the interior panels out of 16-gauge aluminum
Okay, yeah.
on the English wheel.
Wow.
And then sort of built everything to sort of tie and flow together.
Yes, it really does. The way the interior flows, that's just tremendous. Yeah, I love it. I love the lines, the oval design. It's just great. Yeah. Wow.
It's a little bit cozy and a little bit less headroom, but it makes it lots of fun to be able to cruise. Sort of.
Yeah.
We got sound system in the back. Oh, we did power windows, and I also wanted power back window.
Okay.
So even the power back window goes. It's you get a little bit of exhaust coming in the odd time,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's kind of cool to be able to chat with people and
And so, I mean, obviously this thing will really cruise, but how does it ride?
It It rides pretty decent.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it rides beautiful. It's we took the mom and dad for the first ride.
Right.
We took it out, and it was funny. We went for a little bit. We're trying to watch the motor because it's just brand new.
Right.
And yet we had to try it.
Well, sure.
So with 4 of us in there, I revved it up a little bit. We dumped the clutch, and my dad, he's a little bit reserved at the time, and his eyes just got real big. He just went, "We need to go back and measure those."
Good for that. Oh, that's
So
hilarious.
mom was trying to video in the back, and when we went through the gears and all that, all you can hear is so, but you know what? It rides real good. I mean, if you got 4 people, if you hit a bad bump, yes, you know,
Okay.
the suspension is set a bit soft,
Right.
but it handles like a go-kart, and it rides very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You need it a bit soft because the guys in the back are sitting right on top of the
Right
wheels.
on top of the wheels.
Right.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
They're going to get everything.
They're going to get it. Yeah.
Correctly. Oh, that's really cool.
No, so it's been a fun journey, and you know, learning the craft of doing some of the leather work as well, and
Yeah, for sure.
it's the whole process, right?
Right. So did you sew?
No, we didn't sew. We did everything by gluing and and layering the panels.
Okay.
I'd like to learn to sew at some point, but we just did stacked leather panel work, and with Lando foam in behind.
Uh-huh.
And so then we could get the look that we wanted, nice and clean.
Right. Yeah.
And we're looking forward to taking it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really haven't yet much, have you?
No. Like I
been
say,
shown.
we got about 100 miles on it. We could put a mile speedometer on here. It's got a kilometer display, but it looks more authentic if you have for an old vehicle to show miles.
Okay. We're living in Canada.
We're living in Canada or the States, right? If you're going down to the States, they look in and going, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's a kilometer car."
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So, and obviously there isn't lots of room in here for luggage.
Right.
And so that's why we built the little trailer behind. And with a previous car that we had a trailer like that. And you know what? It tracked good even up to 100 miles an hour.
Oh, sure.
So,
Sure. Do you carry a spare in the trailer then?
no,
don't
we have
bother.
AMA.
That's
We try and keep new tires on it.
Right.
And the tires on the back of the trailer,
Right.
tires and wheelers are the same offset and size. On a hot rod, typically you'll go to 2 sets of rear tires for every set of fronts,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
just 'cause.
Sure.
And so when the rear tires get down to 30% on the car,
Yeah.
they'll go onto the trailer.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I always wondered why cars had spare tires nowadays.
It
You might as well have a spare transmission or a spare
Yeah, no.
whatever, you know.
we got decent stuff, and
Yeah.
AMA is a great.
Yeah.
If you got the coverage,
For sure.
go with that.
Yes.
And
Not expensive in it. Yeah, it's really good.
it's not more than just tires.
Then just tell us, Wes, what about trophies? What have you won? Because the whole idea was high end, right? So
Was to build high end. Yeah, we were privileged to be able to go to. Well, we've done the Grand Prairie show, and they put on a bang up show. They've actually Grand Prairie. There's a lot of wealth in the area, and so there's a lot of guys that have cars built for them and that. And we've shown there 3 years, and actually we've been selected as one of the Spectacular 5 all 3 years. It's neat to see that.
Right.
But and then we were at World of Wheels in Calgary, and we got first in our class as well. We were selected as one of the top 6 at the show.
Okay.
And the judges kept going around looking for flaws,
Yeah, right.
but whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was just awesome for that. We showed last winter in Regina as well. It's a Majestic show. It's the solution for hot rodding, right? There's no place for a trunk in here.
Yeah.
And even when, we can throw our stuff in, we can pack whatever you'd like. And so we've got a little hidden lever here to open it.
Okay.
And the top cantilever is open. And we sort of wanted to match the interior of the trailer to fully, match the car. So I mean, we've done the same leather and the roof accents and that, and we wanted to make the trailer a mini version of the car.
Right.
So I mean, we've seen some of the little bubble tops or the Coke cooler trailers,
Right,
and that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But if we can have one like this, nobody else has it. We actually, in one of our previous ones, we had a seat that would fold down and fold up.
All right.
And when we get down to the stateside shows,
Yeah.
they'd be in fairgrounds.
Yeah.
So you're controlled. And then the kids would sit in the back and you'd tour around the grounds,
seat, eh?
or mom and dad would hop in the back. Yeah, it was a little rumble seat. And actually we designed it so that it doesn't slide in normally. It slides in from up. It's got a double receiver that drops.
Okay.
So when we don't want the trailer,
Yeah.
I can just pull the pin and it drops away.
Yeah.
And you can't even tell that we've got a trailer hitch.
Right.
So then we don't have to look like the grandpa car. A few little accents that just keep it clean and flow.
Yeah, right.
And even the tail lights, we bobbed the brackets, we cut them down about 5 inches.
Okay, yeah.
Because they would have come back out to here.
Right, yeah.
And just to make it
That's nice.
make it clean. No, we're looking forward to taking it out and cruising around with you guys sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
heading down Lethbridge and then to Vernon, and then we're just going to see where all we go. And because the way the old hot rods are, the front pulleys of the engine are behind the front axle center line.
Right.
So on normal vehicles, the motor's sitting above that.
Right.
So it's behind, and we're sitting where we are, we're sitting back.
Right.
The weight ratio is almost a 50-50.
Wow.
It's like a go-kart.
Yeah. And so, what do you do when you see somebody about to step on those running boards?
Well, it depends who they are. If it's the grandkids,
Yeah, I know.
you know, or some elderly people, you sort of just you bite your lip a little bit.
Right.
And we've got paint protection film put on it.
Okay.
And the reality is somebody's gonna.
Sure.
And as long as it's not, in my mind, I don't appreciate when it's the old timer that is a little bit going, how strong are these running boards, right? I remember showing once here in town with our previous one, and a bunch of kids were looking through with ice cream.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And one of the locals was livid, and I just went, no, just leave them. You know, I can wipe up ice cream.
Yeah, right.
A lot easier than having a child or a teenager mad at you.
Yeah, right.
Because you screamed at them, embarrassed them.
Yeah, yeah.
You see them on the street,
Sure.
and they're waving at you, and you're going, you know what? It was just a little bit of ice cream.
Yeah.
A little bit of fingerprints, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
But
Well, I mean, that's the risk.
we'll take as good a care as we can.
For sure.
But you know, people are going to touch it, and it's going to whatever. There's going to be things happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just pray for grace not to
Right, yeah,
not to
that's
flip
right, yeah.
out, right? Stuff happens, and so this is how it is now,
Right.
and hopefully it stays looking like this. And you know, if stuff happens, we can always fix them, or we just make it look patina after.